on their ballistic missile program. I wanted to follow up on an important question, both General Rodriguez and General Votel. This is something I've actually asked both your predecessors about, and my concern is if we capture Ayman al-Zawahiri or al-Baghdadi tomorrow, where will we detain these individuals under long-term law of war detention, most importantly to interrogate them so we can find out all that we need to know about al-Qaeda and ISIS. And as I asked your predecessor, going back to 2011, I asked General Ham, your predecessor in AFRICOM, what would happen if we tomorrow captured a member of al-Qaeda in Africa? And you know what he told me? He said, I'm going to need some lawyerly help on answering that one. I also asked the same of Admiral McRaven, your predecessor, General Votel, and he said to me that it would be very helpful if there was actually a facility that was designated for long-term law of war detention and interrogation. So I guess my question to both of you is tomorrow, if we capture these individuals, given the phenomenal work that the men and women who serve underneath you do every day, where are we going to interrogate them? Do you know that? Do you know what you would do with them, especially if we want to have a long-term interrogation of them?
Senator, in my experience, as we've looked at operations where we're actually going to detain somebody, we have had a plan in place before we actually conducted the operation for how we were going to potentially detain them and what their legal disposition would be, whether that was back into the U.S. courts.
So, General, we just recently captured someone in ISIS, and as I understand it, they're being held short-term, and then they're going to be turned back to the Kurds. So what about long-term detention? You would agree that long-term interrogation was quite helpful, for example, in gathering the information we needed to get bin Laden? That's what worries me. What do we do in a long-term setting? Do we know?
I would agree that there is a requirement for long-term detention, Senator.
And do we know where that would be now?
I don't know. That is a policy decision that I think is being debated.
I think it's a policy decision that has basically never been made under this administration. It's one that has been left up in the air, which means it's left up in the air in a way that I think undermines our national security interests. And I think that you all need to know what would happen tomorrow, given the great work that the men and women who serve underneath you. We hope they capture these individuals and we interrogate them when we find out what they know so that we can prevent attacks on this country and obviously continue to dismantle these terrorism networks. Thank you all.